parents who aren't on speaking terms. There are a whole list of co-parenting apps available these days, which make it a lot easier for parents to actually have a sort of a shared message board and a shared diary, so that they can have, they can understand when and where contact's happening. Mobile co-parenting apps I find have been extremely helpful for many parents who particularly start off or in from a fairly acrimonious position, let's say. How I describe it to parents is it's like sort of having rungs on a ladder. There are lots of different positive co-parenting relationships, but in order to aspire, let's say, to one which is much more allied with the other parent, where communication is at its best, you sometimes have to start off on the very first rung of the ladder. So in other words, you need a foundation, you need to build a foundation before you can start kind of opening things up a lot more. So sometimes a mobile app helps to encourage the communication, and there are plenty of those, including My Family Wizard, Two Homes, Cozy. I think I have a list of about 6 of them. So again, I think that's always helpful.
Yes. Okay.
One of the things I do encourage parents to do sometimes, if they are having difficulties with sort of the way in which they're exchanging information, is to actually think about setting up an email where your children's names or your child's name, it becomes a sort of a folder for that email where parents only exchange information via that email. We all have different sort of sections of our lives these days, don't we? And I think when it comes to being a separated parent and you're focusing on your child, it's important to be able to compartmentalize that into a section that is different from your work and different from your private life in that sense. Because again, I think it comes back to boundaries. It's very common for me to hear that sometimes parents are WhatsApping each other and there's a few nasty texts and things like that going backwards and forwards. One of the reasons why we deliver training is so that parents can understand, how to communicate. Keys to communication are certainly one of the biggest bits of information that I give, because we need to have communication on behalf of children. Lack of communication is going to impact on children at some point, and it's for very good reason why lots of parents come and see me when their children reach the age of about 9, 10, sort of pre-teenagers, and they may have been divorced for 10 years, for the whole life of their child practically. But the fact is that once your child reaches that age, they are going to start really observing and worrying about how this is going to affect them if their parents don't communicate. So this is a good reason, I think, for us again to want to capture as many parents as early as possible in that process of separation, so they can understand that you can reach a point where I guess you can sort of say, okay, we haven't made a really good job of this so far, let's say. Maybe you've been separated for 3 years or something like that, and your communication has been pretty bad. You have to reach a point, I guess, where you're saying, well, we haven't done such a good job about that, but how about we draw a line in the sand and we focus on a better way forward? And that's what we're, very much about. Our work is about positive, future-focused work on behalf of children.